Good morning, it's Sunday morning. I need coffee. It's Art of Rock, and we're going to talk about the amazingness of rock, which is amazing. And we're going to talk about making rock happen while we drink coffee at several stages of Sunday. Join us every Sunday here in the Palladium of Rock. Boom! On the Twitch, so that you may join us and be happy and fulfill your rock destinations, because that's what has to happen, isn't it? This is made possible with the amazingness of Angelspit Patreon supporters who are here. And you guys, my God, you are my encouragement, and I will try and be yours. Keep an eye on Angelspit's Bandcamp, because I'm about to drop a single. Eric's on that single. So is Vince. Yeah, that's coming. I'm very excited about that. There's also a free download of I think it's about an hour worth of ambient noise. Go get it. It's free. It's good fun. It will help you wake up. I hope it helps you wake up. Bratton Schatz, who's here, who's Julius, aka Eric, almost, has just released a single. Go check it out, because it's epic. And we get a thank you in that. Thank you, Julius. And there's a new EP that is now out by the amazing Els from Els and the Cult that Angelspit produced, and it's out now. And I think it's like 7 tracks or something. I should know. And there's also a video, so watch the video because it'll spoil your brain. It's fantastic, and if you like non-stop rock, 24 hours a day in darkness, MTV TV. And afterwards we are gonna raid to MTV TV. And if you are an artist that does, there it is. If you're an artist who does content, streaming content on Twitch, always raid to MTV TV. Take your audience who are primed up for something awesome and raid on over so that we can help this thing, because this thing is building the community. Yes. Today we're going to talk about videos, and then I'm going to throw it to Rob. Here's a video that we did with MTV TV, and it goes into narrative, tech, tools, and technique, all sorts of fun things, and it's pretty good because there's a bunch of people who are having a chat, and there's some really fantastic shit in that chat. Rob, tell me about your question, and let's jump into this. Does anyone want to jump in on this one? Because it's a great question. Oh shit! Hold on a minute. I'm going to unmute your mic. So can you give me the last 30 seconds of that question again? Because I had your mic muted because I suck. Because it's Sunday morning. Give me a break. Go.
Hi Zoog. Got a question. How do we make a music video? We've got a track and we've got little bits of video. How do we put it all together?
Brilliant. Julius, I see your hand. Hit me with your rhythm stick.
First of all, I think it depends on the genre of music we are talking about. For example, I think in industrial music, aka dark alternative music, anything's possible, I would say. And yeah, it also depends on what type of person you are, like work-wise. Some creative people can work better when they just start off and do something and put it together from the chaos that's created, and some people need to plan everything very detailed. So yeah, that's what I say.
Thank you. I'm just muted because my blonde is yelling at me. That's great. Eric, I know you've done a couple. Anybody else can jump in as well if you want.
I'll throw a couple words out there. And it's funny, as I was just looking at the date on this video you sent out, we were on there talking about this topic, and since then, EBX, who was also on that in that video that you just shared the link to, we're doing a video together next week, or in 2 weeks in Austin. So we're going to travel down to Austin And so there's performance videos, and we're going to do a performance video where we're going to record ourselves doing a live performance at Elysium in Austin. But I tapped Eva X and Eric Gabrielson because they have some experience doing this stuff. So it's not just getting up there and recording the live performance. We're coming in before sound check, recording us performing the song 3 or 4 or 5 times, where we have a lot of control. Then we're going to film it again on stage with the crowd and all of that. And then we've started storyboarding kind of elements we want in there. We want even the crowd stuff. We want crowd reacting to this. We want to get people doing this or that. And then we have some other narrative stuff that we're talking about that may not end up in it, but we may record separately here in Dallas, not at the Austin event, but that will kind of layer some other elements into it. And that's what we would call a performance one. But then there's other ones that are more cinematic and conceptual, where you don't have a performance in it and you're kind of telling a story, and it's really, are you telling the story that's the song, or are you telling a different story and kind of leaving it up to the audience to kind of put the pieces together? And then sometimes there's a lot of good videos out there. We've done a few of them where you use a lot of stock footage, news video, stuff like that really tell your story, because maybe it's very political or maybe it's very topical of what's going on. Like a lot of what I'm hearing on the new album from Angelspit, it's very about the now. So maybe it makes more sense throwing in stock videos and footage and stuff like that, or maybe even doing some parody of it where you put like a crazy looking Trump mask on, or other politicians or whatever to overact it. But
Awesome.
Definitely script it out, or you'll be recording forever and never have anything.
Yeah, I agree on that. Scripting is everything, unless anybody else wants to jump in. Scripting is everything. And I personally think a really strong concept is what is going to work. And is the footage you have, is it connected via script, via concept, or is it just a whole bunch of cool footage? Oh, Rob, sorry.
Oh, well, I've got one of the projects I have is a whole bunch of cool footage, and it's done by a professional, and I'm interested in how people do their slicing and dicing, like how they arrange their video. I'm not too worried about the tools or the techniques or the effects, but just the overall composition and arrangement. And I'm interested to know how Brunschutz created his most recent video.
Awesome, thank you. I'm going to throw it to you, Julius. I have a cat issue to deal with. I'll be back in a second.
All right. My most recent video, are we talking about Oprah Fire or the upcoming one?
The upcoming one that you showed the shorts for.
Okay. I must admit we did a little fewer scripting than in the video we did before, Oprah Fire. And it was kind of chaotic and caused much more work than necessary. So lesson learned. And there was a certain aesthetic we had in mind from the beginning when we heard the song. The song also comes with a story, which I posted on Instagram in the last few weeks. And one element of this aesthetic was the VHS stuff and analog TV stuff. And first of all, we took care about the gear we needed, being an old television with, I don't know how to say it in English, with all the gear it comes with it, with a converter that converts to analog. And afterwards, we created the makeup and the clothing and stage outfit and all. And I think, is there a story? Diana, you saw it, did you? Is there a story in this video? Kinda. It came with editing, I think. There were sceneries we had in mind, like having two sides of the same coin, and the rest kind of got together during the process, I think. Yeah.
So some of it is random and some of it is pre-thought out, and you obviously do costumes pre-thought out, makeup,
Absolutely.
all that sort of stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
And what about your previous video?
This one was more thought out. The song was called Opera Fire, as some of you might know, and the name already comes with some pictures you get in mind, like stage and drama and stuff like that. And that was the aesthetic we got for this video at first. And I think there's not really a story in this video as well. Not that I know, not that I would interpret one into this one. So yeah, it was filming ourselves performing and putting B-roll footage in, which was a lot of stock videos, which we won't do again because it was so cheap.
And you star in most of that video, right? It's mostly
Yes.
you, yeah. Plus some, I think there's a girl in there and a few other folks, but most of the footage seems to be you in the limelight. And what's interesting is I contrast that to Angelspit videos where I feel like there's 70% of story going on, and you've got this little 30% Carl actually performing live in his studio. Do I get that right, Carl? Is
Yeah.
that kind of how you work?
I guess. I sort of do them on a piece by piece. Per one. I don't like performance videos. That's just me, because I don't like performing like that. I love storyline, and I love storyline where there's something going on, and then there's under that there is something going on. I'm actually trying to figure one out at the moment for how can you go from a tweet to thermonuclear war in 6 steps. But given the current climate, that's kind of easy. So yeah, scripting is everything, and I like people to go, if they're going to watch the video again, it's partly obviously for the song, but it's also for what the hell is going on here. Because I love that. I just love that. I love that darkness. I love little horror movies. I love, that, when you're watching something and there's something sinister, like in the artwork and everything. I really love that. I don't really like videos. I don't like doing videos that are, well, I'm going to act out the lyrics here, and here's the chorus, and I'm acting it out, and I'm singing it in front of a crowd. I mean, I've seen other bands do it, and it's great. I don't really like that. I don't even really like people in the videos lip syncing the whole way through, for me, because I hate looking at myself going, God, I look like such a dick. If you're just doing something and then you might say 2 or 3 lines and then you go back to what you're doing, I love that. That's creepy. I love the idea of challenging, like, what the expectation is in a video. Like, I like the idea of going, well, everybody else is doing this thing, and it's not a case of, well, then I'm going to try this. It's a case of I need to free my mind and go somewhere else, and not go, well, if I don't, follow what they're doing, or if I don't present something that is easily graspable, then people aren't going to like, what I do, because my career has been, there's been a lot of that going on, that I'll do something crazy and something different, and some people will react, other people will not react. Some people get it, other people don't get it, and that's cool. So coming back, because I went on a bit of rant there, it's about it's about having an idea, and it can be a really simple idea, and then you script that thing out, and you pack it full of humor and wit and horror as much as you can, and you have fun with it. Like, it's funny that when I go into a video, because my head is so fucked, I go, this is a pain in the ass, and this is a terrible pain, and I'm doing all this trouble and no one's going to watch it. And it's not about the audience. It's about me, and it's about me doing something different for myself, with myself, using my brain in a different capacity to come up with something unique. David Lynch is such a huge influence for me, and he doesn't give a flying fuck what other people think, and I find that so exciting, and he comes up with such beautiful, different, strange things. And suddenly we're going to go behind the restaurant, and there's a terrifying woman at the garbage can. Scared. Didn't see that one coming, but it sure is building to the tension. So yeah, and coming up with those ideas, and stop me if I'm rambling now. I try and evoke the child in me that sits with a torch under their face, telling a creepy story. And that, that simple thing. And that creepy story has to go for 3 minutes. And by the time you shoot it, there's not really a lot of concept there.
Are you shooting that video for yourself, or are you getting somebody else to do it, or are you just handing off material?
It's going to be all me. If ever I hand stuff off, it's usually to the liar. Then if it's not him, it's Kino, or Chris, or Keith. I have a bunch of people that I always go to just because I know I can rely on them. But I usually do most of it myself. But that's the thing, is that I've come to learn that it doesn't matter how. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. It doesn't matter how good quality the video is. If it's a really strong concept, you can get away with murder. Like, you can just absolutely get away with murder. And I think the closer it is to an 80s horror VHS that you found under your house, the better.
Yeah, I find watching videos on MTV TV quite inspirational, because you'll have some music on there that may not be exactly your fancy, but the video kicks ass and you want to keep watching it.
Yeah,
and it's got a good story,
Yeah.
The diversity is awesome.
Well, because that's another really excellent thing about MTV TV, is that so when there's a habitat, a safe habitat, as you know, butterflies and bees are going to grow. They're going to flourish there, and it's going to grow and become a safe place. And now that we have MTV TV and a community that is feeding into MTV TV, watching it, and also contributing to it, increasingly I can say, well, I saw a video on there and it was kind of like really weird and really fucked up, and I was inspired by it. I want to do something. And that's where you get a habitat. Like, normally when they talk about habitats in rock and roll, they're talking about a club. Oh, we've got a club, and it's a safe club, and it's never going to go away, or it's not going to go away for a long time, and we all go there and drink and hang out and show bands and da-da-da-da-da, and a culture grows. So now that there is a similar thing growing, which is why I'm always pushing it, is that there is an opportunity for culture to grow. And if I may rant, I'm increasingly finding that industrial/EBM has an underground, and it also has a pop layer, and that's great. When cultures, if we've become this big, although we're not a hashtag on Spotify, but if we've become this much, and there are so many bands that are supporting themselves in this genre now, when we've reached this mass, there's going to be the underground, and there's going to be the pop layer, and that's great. It is really great. But that is now meaning, that there is more opportunity for bands who see themselves as an underground within an underground to push the boundaries. And to go, well, you know what, DJs aren't going to play this. And, I have to sit down when I do an album, and I have to go, well, look, the reality is DJs aren't going to play this. They'll play this one and this one, but these other ones, they're not. So I'm going to go out, and I'm going to do something crazy on these tracks. And it's the same thing with the videos. Like, it's because it's not responsible for gaining hundreds of thousands of views, which my videos don't. I therefore have an opportunity to play and to experiment. And that is critical for a habitat like ours, that there are all of these other people that are stirring stuff up, creating stuff that the habitat can grow, that it's really being pushed out there. But that's just what I think. And pulling it back to the original thing, it's all about that scripting it and coming up with a really strong concept. And I will script it out per phrase of the lyrics.
So Diana, what do you find as a powerful video in the dark genre? I mean, you got all these videos coming in. Which ones tickle your fancy, and which ones do you think are the most powerful?
Oh geez, I don't know, because the whole point is to support the community, and pretty much any videos that are sent to us, most videos we will play. I curate it so that some of the stronger videos, I curate it so that maybe you don't like this, but stick around because you'll like the next one. I try to spread it out so that the interest stays, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, but I like that video. But anyway, I don't know. I like so many of them. There's so many of them on the channel. I do like when there's a story behind it. That's a difficult question. I'm sorry. I don't know. I like so many of them. But I do like when there's a story behind it.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna ask something and I totally forgot what it was. Oh, do you find storyboarding helpful? Not just scripting, but storyboarding? Making a video.
I throw it open to the floor. So you mean literally drawing pictures?
Like drawing pictures to figure out what scene's next, things like that.
I think it helps. It makes a big difference to us. I mean, it's kind of how we write music too. So approach the videos with the same kind of feeling as the videos in the music are very similar. But sometimes we just start having like these aesthetics, like looking at Julius's stuff while you guys were talking. I really like the aesthetic of this stuff, and I'm thinking of all the cool things you could do with that to even go beyond the video. So now when we're looking at the video stuff, we're looking at, okay, can we take pieces of this and turn them into canvases on Spotify? How will these play as stories on Instagram, and trying to make something that's more connected that pulls everybody back to the video, or just kind of creates this kind of environment or world that's kind of around that aesthetic that you're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry I can't quite answer your question, Rob, because there's so many and they kind of each has their own things that grab my attention. But a story behind it is, you know, or bold graphics help too sometimes. I don't know. I like a lot of the stuff that's on there.
So if I haven't done storyboarding before, what do I do? How do I start that?
I mean, I've done storyboarding where it's pretty much like stills from the main points of my story that I want to have on camera. Almost like a comic, like a rough draft comic book. But like I draw out, and it's not for videos. I've done this for other things. Where I'm just kind of sketching out the main points that I have to have on camera, just so I can in my head see what order they're in.
Is that how you communicate, Carl, if you're going to hand something off?
Yeah, I guess, so if I'm gonna let someone else shoot it, they do all of it, because I'm gonna give them total freedom, because I pay them so much money not. So if you're not, getting paid a lot, then it's yours. We'll brainstorm out an idea, but I'll let them handle all that stuff. So they can do whatever they want and they can work however they can. When I'm doing my own thing, I don't really storyboard very much. A lot of what I do is scripted in an Excel file in a spreadsheet, because I'm already seeing what's going on in my head, and perhaps it's something that I should do, because I don't. But lots of words, lots of timings, lots of numbers. Like, I know I have 13 seconds to get that person from there to there and to do this task. That's what I have to do. Because everything's planned and timed. But yeah, there's always accidents, and accidents are happy, usually. So in answer to your question, no, I don't storyboard. So do you have storyboards on the thing you're working on currently, Rob?
No, I don't. I don't storyboard. I'm much the same as you, Carl. I will take a lot of notes just on my phone wherever I am on the planet. When I have ideas, I'll jot them down and include them for that video, and I'll remember what that looks like. Now, interestingly, if I get a tune in my head, if I don't capture it quickly, it's gone. But video content in my head sticks. So it could be 2 months later, and I go back to a project and I start doing a little bit more, and I seem to remember every single little detail that I wanted to have in the video. But if it was a tune or a melody, it completely goes out of my brain. Maybe it's just me, but I seem to have somewhat of a videographic memory for what I want to see, and so the script is in my head. I've never been able to delete that stuff out of my head. So I've never been pressured to do a storyboard, but also I'm not handing it off to anyone else. I'm just doing it all myself. So, and I'll push content back out to the other artists and let them comment on it. It's just the way I operate. I never actually been trying to do it. Never took any formal courses. Nothing. I just put it all together. And I think the reuse, I would say the reuse on the footage that I get tends to be pretty high. Like if I record 30 seconds of video, I've done that purposefully because I want almost all of that 30 seconds. It might get trimmed down by 5 or 10 seconds at the most, but I tend to only use what I want to get. I'm not very lossy. I don't film 8 hours of work and only get 10 minutes of quality. I don't know if that's how the industry works in that regard. I know where I work, I've watched 3 hours of B-roll footage, and I know for a fact that they only took 3 minutes out of it. And I think that's pretty exhaustive, if you ask me, because time is precious to everybody. So I try to do little snippets of it, exactly what I want, and that's what I stick to. That's just.
I worked in film for a while, and so I know a lot of directors, and some of them do the same thing. Every hour they record, they end up with 3 minutes of video or whatever that make it to the screen. But there's other ones, they film an hour and 59 minutes of that will make it to the screen. So some of it has to do with planning, some of it has to do with how it's in your head, like what you're talking about for yourself. Some of it has to do with luck, but people that tend to be very good at being efficient like that are like that all the time, and they do more in the planning stages than other people do to be more efficient with what actually makes it on the film. But there's basic things to follow, like exposition goes to conflict, goes to rising action into resolution. And there's some of the new videos that Carl put out, like the one with I think it was a hair coming under the door or something like that. That follows that structure, and it takes people on a journey, and a lot of times it's just being creative within that kind of paradigm.
That's all very interesting. I want to ask you really quickly about that video in a moment. Welcome, Brett. We're talking about videos. I shoot 50 minutes. I use 45 minutes. I'm a guy. because I can't stand with everything. I just can't stand saying, hey man, like if I get someone to do guitars and they send me 3 hours of guitars, it's like, nope, I don't have the time to edit this shit. You know, this is what I want. Send me gold. Give me goddamn gold. If it's a non-scripted situation, I might go through and use the best takes. But, you know, here's an interesting thing as well. Okay, Eric, I just want to ask you about that video for the track Easy, where my wife is coming under the door with hair. What's it about? Did you understand what that track was about?
I didn't necessarily understand what it was about, but it kept me connected and wanted to see the resolution. And I think a lot of videos miss that part where they start to kind of tell a story or something, but they don't come to a resolution or rise to a climax and goes to a resolution. I think they drop off or do it in the wrong order. I never tried to analyze what it was about. It was just more about being compelled to see what was going to happen, you know?
That's interesting. Because that one, and I've done a lot of videos that are very content driven, and I always like concept driven, and I've always thought, do people actually understand what's going on in this video? For example, New Devil from the album A Cult of Fake was about planting a virus on dollar bills. So it was actually a bacteria that lived on dollar bills that was a hallucinogenic and would mean people would die. And it was injected specifically into, contaminated dollars were specifically injected into certain groups of people: black, leftist, socialist, and queer. And they were the people who were dying because it was targeted at them. But I don't think anyone got that. And that doesn't matter. You know, and it's the same thing with, you know, some of the other videos as well, is that I always wonder, is there too much going on here? Do people care? But that comes back to the thing that it's not really about what they're taking and, you know, picking up, putting down. It comes down to, wow, here's something, like you said, that is interesting, and I am compelled to keep watching it, and I don't know what's going on here. I can ruin Easy for you if you want and tell you what it's about, but that might take the fun out of it.
What's funny with New Devil, I was just pulling the video up because I didn't remember it, but you know what I remember, what stood out to me on this one?
That I'm an excellent newsreader.
Dude, it is awesome. It
yes.
is like so good. So
should have been a fucking newsreader. I was channeling Ron Burgundy the whole time.
Yeah,
I was
it
drinking.
Looks good. It sounds good. It's
drinking
like
whiskey.
So green screen is perfect.
And at the end of it, I said, "Go fuck yourself, San Diego."
Now, you guys did a good job. I was just, when I first saw it, knowing you more than most people seeing this, when I saw a pile of money on there, I'm like, that's probably more money than you had for the budget of the video. Now so those things stood out to me. It takes me out of it sometimes.
So that was done by Keith Jensen in New York, and he's excellent, and I've worked on him with a bunch of tracks. And what's fun is to sit down with someone and brainstorm with them about, hey man, I've got an idea for a video and I don't know how to do this and I'm trying to achieve this thing. But yeah, so
I like the idea that you're not sure about whether the message gets across. And I think about my teenage children and young adult children who are subtitle culture. They'll watch every single film and TV show with subtitles. It annoys the crap out of me, but I got addicted to doing it as well because there is a dialogue. It's like reading a book and watching a film at the same time. And with a video, I think more people are starting to put in catchwords and phrases and titles to their videos to make sure the message is getting across. What are your thoughts on that?
We have on the channel several videos that are, it's not a lyric video as much as keywords, phrases pop up on the screen in different fonts or whatever to get the message across.
That's actually really interesting. That's curious. That's very curious, because I've always wanted to do a video where the people are mouthing the words, but they're different sets of words. But so that may not be relevant or not. But what you say about subtitling culture, that's really interesting. Because like, I watch stuff with subtitles on now as well. I don't really want to. It's something the wife does, and it's funny how much of the dialogue I miss. Like, but with the subtitles, it's like, oh yeah, I got it.
You think about sarcasm and, you know, people being fake, and I could be smiling at somebody, subtitle is "I fucking hate you."
That's a strong idea. I love that idea.
You do that with politicians where the subtitles are saying what they really mean.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. If anybody else wants to throw in about videos and storyboarding and concept, I love concept. I could just lose myself in concept.
I was just thinking along the same lines as a concept. You could make fun of the way they translated old Japanese films and subtitle those with almost MXC style.
I used to run an Asian film festival, and I took I forget what the movie was called. It was a Takashi Miike Japanese movie, and I redid all the subtitles on the trailer, and it was totally different. It was about their cars instead of about being gangsters, and the company take it down after it had about 50,000 more hits than their own trailer.
Excellent.
I can't help but think about Aussie Man reviews as well, right?
Exactly.
I have a desire to laugh track behind Eraserhead, because when you watch it, it's actually really funny. Like, it's so awkward and funny. The only thing you can do here is laugh. Can I just tell everybody a really quick story about Eraserhead? Is so that when David Lynch did that, he had absolutely no money, and everybody around him was telling him to get a joke. And I may have told this before, and if I have, I apologize. But there's a scene where what's the guy's name? Ed? Eraserhead dude. I think his name's Ed. I don't know. Ed goes to the door and opens the door. And that's where they had to cut it and stop filming because they had run out of money. And it took Lynch 3 years to get enough money to continue filming. And the next shot was Ed opening the door from the other side and walking through. And he has the exact facial expression. He is the character. He held the character for 3 years. It's like, man, that's madness. That's like crazy. But yeah. And also there's a lot of fun with like treating the film, treating the this is something that The Liar and Keith Jensen are into, is colorizing to match a mood or to push a mood. And that's just fascinating to me. Like, I want to make this look like Seven, something like that. Really crush those reds. Blah. I will throw the floor open to anybody else who wants to add to this topic or move this topic or whatever.
How do we... Oh, go ahead, Diana.
What I need is like movement. Even if it's a live set, whether it's the way you cut it or what, but a static video, if you will, doesn't hold my attention as much as if something has even a little bit of movement, different camera angles, things like that. There's one, What Gets Done in the Night, and it's just a long shot, steady cam, and then moves around the room, and it's technically just them playing in the basement, but with the camera work, it makes it more interesting and moves your eye through the scene.
Okay, so that's... Sorry, Rob, the floor is yours. I remember you were going to talk, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask if there's any boundaries that have been crossed so far on MTV TV versus censorship and, illicit content or gore or anything like that, because sometimes I have a lot of ideas that probably aren't good to put on something like Twitch. But have you had any issues with censorship? That's after Carl.
Okay, so we do have a mature content warning on the site. I think one of the bigger issues might be actually flashing images. I don't know if that's an issue that we have to put, hey, these videos contain possibly flashing images. People with epilepsy and stuff, we have to, but warning. But we do have the mature content before you get on watch the site. There's been a couple videos that have had issues. Difficult question. I think there was one video someone submitted, and it was basically people shooting up a mall, and we just were like, no, that can't, like that's too close to home, and that's too no. Haven't had to really make too many decisions like that yet.
Yep.
We try not to really do censorship. It's not an easy thing.
I like the Angelspit. We like to watch where you've got a lot of illicit content and violence, but it's treated very carefully. So
yes.
Either it's in the distance or you're blurring out the money shot, so to speak. That seems to be borderline, but I think it works. And unfortunately, the Machiavellian side of me actually want to screw with people visually. I don't want to be safe. I want to make annoying videos that put people in trances or screws them around. To me, that's all part of art, but I respect the fact that that may not be healthy for people too. So there's a borderline to wander there.
If there's a question, we might not put it right on, and we might talk about it first. But like I said, the most questionable video we've received so far had to do with violence rather than nudity, actually. So, not an easy question.
What do you reckon, Carl?
Okay, I wanted to just say, I want to get back to this. Censorship's fascinating. I wanted to say how, due to budget, due to the reality, blah, 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 a lot of shots are on a tripod. And, all I can do a lot of the time is kind of have a semi-wide shot at a really high quality and then go into the frame and move the frame, automate within the frame. Just because, Diana, I'm just like you, I love movement, but usually it's just me shooting, or because of the confinements of the equipment, which is kind of really, it sucks, but it's so exciting how everything has become, this is whatever I can get done. Censorship is such a fantastic subject that I love making stuff that is confronting and heavy and goes, even a lot of my lyrics don't say fuck anymore, although the new album, I think almost every track has an expletive in it. Go those expletives. Every time I say expletive, for some reason I think of a sheep. I don't know why. This track contains a sheep. Because I think I think that for a sheep it's a rude word. Just always, they're going fuck off or something like that.
Only New Zealand.
Yeah, no, well, New Zealand sheep are come fuck me. But other sheep from all over the world, thanks Rob, I knew you'd appreciate that. Other sheep are fuck off. Yeah, towing that line is endlessly fun. The problem is the line's moving and the line's getting closer. And this goes into everything offends everybody these days, but maybe there are some areas where we need to address, but that's a conversation I don't really want to get into. It's really fascinating, and from the perspective of an artist, trying to make lyrics or make visuals that make people feel uncomfortable, because we got into this because making people feel uncomfortable is what we do, or we felt uncomfortable and there was somehow a way we wanted to express it. Alex, go.
Yeah, I generally don't have much about this topic, but I've heard that auto-stabilizing cameras are getting cheaper and cheaper. You can't change the lens, but I think they're like called gimbals or so. They're like maybe €300/$dollars or so. I've heard they become quite good.
Cool. Good to know. Rob.
Yeah, the slow decensorship of humanity and the overrun of the internet, where you've got ubiquitous content around the globe, and it's hard for governments to control what you see. I think to me it started with 9 Inch Nails with Closer, and just some of the graphics that are in that video clip were completely out of bounds compared to normal pop music, and it kind of started to stretch my understanding of what video clips should be. And when I was watching Rage back in Australia, it culminated with a band called Lubricated Goat, where the whole band
Which
was
one?
Playing, yeah, they were playing on stage.
Naked? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they had goat heads on.
I did that on The Money or the Gun.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, there is no line. There's absolutely no line. Anything goes. And for the life of me, my cat, no, one of my garage band mates back in the 90s said, I've got this track done, but the video is naked pregnant women pushing trolley carts in a supermarket. And it's like, I think, yeah, it's shocking, it's interesting, but how are we going to film that? And we never did, because it was just too out there. And I'm sure today he would still want to have naked pregnant women walking, shopping through a supermarket. Probably could shoot it today, but I'm still not game.
Okay, Brett, I see your hand. I want to go back to Lubricated Goat. Oh, guys, you don't know about Lubricated Goat. You don't know about This Is Serious Mum either. You don't know about Regurgitator. Okay, so the thing about Lubricated Gun is, now it was Andrew Denton who did. There was this genius fucking comedian in Australia named Andrew Denton, and he would do anything. He was brilliant. And what they decided to do with Lubricated Goat, because Lubricated Goat was the kind of band that you could do anything with, they said, well, we're going to have you on the show, and it's going to be regular camera angles. We're going to shoot you like it's a regular, here is a band on the show with the camera doing what the camera does, except you're going to be naked. And they said, yeah, we'll do that. And I think the whole point of the exercise is that music videos are so sexualized, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the greatest videos I've ever seen was Tism doing one of the, This Is Serious Mum doing one of their songs, besides Wanker. And they did it to an audience full of kids, children. And during the song, behind them, they were inflating a bouncy castle or a bounce house. And in the last chorus, the stage was flooded with kids on this bouncy castle, and it was the fucking best video ever. I digress. I want to come back to Rage. Alex, I'm after you. Brett, go.
My only kind of thing on the, I guess, censorship is I kind of take a sort of Quentin Tarantino approach to it, I guess. In other words, you can touch a lot of really sensitive topics if you go over the top in the violence. To where you take it on back into the realm of fiction. I mean, that's just kind of me. Or at least that's what I've kind of seen from videos and whatnot. Just a thought.
Thank you. Eric.
It's one of the questions I get asked a lot about is what Twitch allows you and doesn't allow you to do. And it's different because if you're streaming everything live, you get away with a lot more. But as soon as you show that video later, then it starts to get censored and songs start to get censored because they're going to block out material. We just did an event for a record label and even filed the paperwork, and they still block the record label's music. But one of the DJs started with a video a week before, Scott Duran. I think Diana was there for this, and it started with someone like tying up people and like killing them at the beginning of it or something like that. When we put that video on YouTube, it got blocked like a day or two later, and then Twitch blocked the whole entire thing and never told us why. We're just assuming it has something to do with that. But it seems like it's different when you're streaming live versus having it repeat as a video, and a lot of people are not putting video clips or any of their shows back up on, and they're putting them other places or not putting them up at all because of that, the different censorship things and things like that.
Thank you, Eric. Remind me, because I want to touch on that really quick, and I'm sure Diana does as well. Julius, go.
It's me? Okay. I'm not prepared. Touching the Carl, you're making a face.
I'm making a face because I have a cat.
I'm insecure. Okay. Touching the topic of Twitch and what you may do on Twitch and what you may not do on Twitch. I'm actually concerned about our upcoming video because I looked up the Twitch policies and it says you can't show nipples on people who present as women. I have a drag queen in my video with a naked chest, so remains to be seen. And I'm also curious on how YouTube is going to treat our video because there are some kind of gory scenes in it. We are thinking about blurring them, but then we didn't, and remains to be seen. It's kind of an experiment for us right now.
Well, I have yet to go over that with Adam. There's a video on the channel, and they're kind of almost off camera. They're on the side, so they're not the focal point. But there is a video with women dancing around in pasties, but it's in a video that overall is asking what's worse, violence, nudity. Like it's a whole part of the story. So, I mean, I have to talk to Adam about it. I don't see a problem with it, but I don't know about Twitch.
Yep.
They're showing it live. We'll get away with it.
I hope so.
I'm going to put a pin in that, and I want to talk about that as well after Alex.
Just shortly, if you have to censor it, please censor it with the MTV TV logo skull. I think that would be fun. I don't know. I had a point about what's is censored and what is self-censored. I feel like many artists today censor their opinion because they're like, really scary, but like other things like violence, sexuality are like much more loose. And I sometimes feel like it's just not that less allowed, but what is allowed or what is accepted just shifted. Yeah, that's all my wisdom.
Thank you. I'll just throw it out there as well, is that this topic of self-censorship and what's okay and oh my god, I don't want to get cancelled, as soon as we bring that up, I just see everybody perk up, because I know it's so close to all of us, as artists. So if you have a video and you're concerned about it, you can do an edit. And if you're going to do an edit, have fun with that edit. Like, intercut it with something that's offensive. Not naked, but it's offensive. I don't know, something offensive.
So stick a label on the end of the video that says, go to my Patreon for the uncensored version.
Yeah. Or you could have two people wearing something, a political mask, making out or sucking on a cucumber or something. I don't know. Because if you're going to do a censored, make sure you tell everyone to fuck off.
Or censor it unnecessarily so it looks like there's something you're blurring out.
I love that idea. That's why you stick around. I love that idea.
I'm out of here. Thanks.
shoot it to a thanks, money's in the mail. Shoot it to an audience reaction when they're going, actually, it was a video. I think it was Lubricated Goat. They did an audience reaction video, and you know, people were nearly throwing up, but you never saw the video. And another thing is that if your content's difficult, there's Vimeo. Vimeo will host almost anything. And then there's also, bands are now putting their stuff on porn sites. They're uploading it to Xhamster and other porn sites because they might show a nipple. I did want to talk about Rage, but that's not going to happen. Alex, go.
Just to go back about the previous topic about what should you do as a music video. And there's one German band who did a tutorial to make a music video as a music video, which I thought was the best idea ever. Yeah.
That's great.
Who was it?
Deichkind. It's probably not known outside of Germany, but
Can you put it in the? Can you type in the chat so I can find
sure.
it? Thank you.
So did Phil Collins. Billy, don't you lose my number was him going through video options. It was kind of funny. Yeah, so it's interesting because Australia used to have this show called Rage. It still does have Rage. And Rage was bloody amazing because Rage would play anything. Like anything. You know, and I found out about lesbian dope heads on mopeds and gay bikers on acid from Rage and Lubricated Goat and all this other stuff at, 3 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, Rage played the uncensored Closer. They played, I think they played Happiness in Slavery as well. But it's really fascinating how we have become so self-censored that it's blocking the artistic flow. I'm currently writing lyrics with a band. I'm working with bands over, Twitch, over Zoom, and somebody comes up with a really cool idea for a lyric, and the first thing they go is, "Oh, well, we get cancelled for that." It's like, no, wait, that lyric isn't even in the song yet. That lyric might go somewhere. That might turn into something really cool that if it's handled in a certain way, it might be cool, or you might just use it. It's this thing I'm seeing so often. It's like, it's your damn job. Unless you're a coward. Sorry, Alex, go.
Yeah, I think it also depends on what's your relation to your audience, because there are like some artists which are like known for outrage and offending people, and I think if you're known for that kind of thing, you can get away with much more, and it's almost like unfair, because like people who are careful, who are mindful, often like if they apologize, they get stoned. But if you just don't give a fuck, people just don't care, seem not to care. That's what I find very frustrating. But also on the flip side, I think if you just fuck with your audience enough for the whole fair, then you have like the one of the better. Sorry, I can't think in English. You live better as an artist if you keep your audience a bit on the edge and are not too comfortable.
Totally agree. Eric, Brett, I'm in after you. Eric, go.
Hello. I just wanted to add just real quick, talking about just censorship with videos and lyrical content, like you were saying, Carl, coming up with something you're like, I don't know if I could, where we're gonna go with this. Could be great. And talking about 9 Inch Nails and with Closer, it's just a quick story. It's pretty funny. Is that whole album was done musically. Trent went to go write lyrics, and they were trying to figure out what song they were going to release. That was after Pretty Hate Machine and Broken. And they were just starting to get big, and how are we going to go with this momentum and keep going? And they were sitting there, and they were like, "We have no single from this album." They were like, all of Closer's like, we don't have a radio-friendly, poppy, dancey single. And they finally decided on the song Closer, and they were like, this is the song we're gonna push. And we're all for it, and then Trent comes in with the lyrics today with the chorus says, you know, I want to fuck you like an animal, and everyone was like, we can't use this as a single anymore. What did you just do? And Trent was the one that pushed that to keep going and just saying, fuck them, fuck censorship, and we're doing this. And if they never did that, who knows? They may have never blown up the way they did, because that was the song that, you know, got them going. So, and we spoke about this a couple weeks ago. I remember Carl saying too, do something, make people think, make people, like, art should push boundaries all the time. And self-censorship, no matter what it is I don't agree with it at all. I mean, like Diana was saying, sometimes shooting a mall up, maybe not the best time to do something like that. That's not saying anything right now. I think that's going to be extreme, because it's happened. Like, it's there. But just make your stuff and put it out. And if you get censored, you get censored. And like Carl said to you before, edit version of it and have a page or something you can go to. Make your art, and who knows, like, you might self-censor, and then the aspect of your video or your music that would have got you over with people. And if the platform's going to censor you, let them censor you, especially YouTube. That YouTube is just, it's just gone down so bad, just with everything they're doing with sound quality, censorship. I had a friend who had a music video up for like 2 years, and it was playing fine, like nothing, and then all of a sudden he put up on Facebook 2 weeks ago that all of a sudden YouTube asked him to take it down or put mature or something up on it. Content he had, I think he had like a naked girl in there or something that he was been playing forever, and now all of a sudden the wrong person stumbled upon that video who maybe shouldn't have, and they reported him for it, and now he's censored. So fuck it, just do what you want. That's it.
Thank you. Brett?
I tend to agree that from the artist perspective, you have to do what you want. So for me, there's, you know, I mean, obviously I'm not pro at this or anything, but there's no real reason to do this other than to get those feelings out safely. To where I'm not shooting up a school. I might, for example, now whether or not I'd approach that as a topic, I haven't yet, but it's fully within the realm of doing, and if I did, I'm quite certain I would make it as horrible as it actually is. With that said, I don't have any expectations either that someone else should be like, hey, I'm going to promote this on my channel, I'm going to do this, just because it exists. I mean, just because you write an offensive book doesn't mean that everyone wants to read that book. It doesn't mean that everyone wants to support it. But I think it's no less the job of the artist to go there.
Awesome. If it's okay, I want to just jump in. I want to say that I mentioned this a few weeks ago as well, is that I was watching some 60s war movie, and I was struck by the sincerity of the 60s rock and early 70s protest music while Vietnam was happening. I don't really hear much of that anymore, and it's been a pretty rough week under the shadow of that, I think that this very public, politically correct phase, I stress phase, we are going through is something we're going through. That with everything, it goes this way, then it goes that way, then it goes this way. This won't last. And, when we're in 5-10 years, when we went, gee, that was a whole pile of bullshit, wasn't it? All of that energy we put into not making sure that we offended anyone, we didn't have the opportunity to actually make the world question and really laugh at situations. We should get comics on this and let them talk about how political correctness has ruined their trade. But this will pass, and I hope future generation will look back on this generation and just go, cowards. You fucking cowards. You had so much to kick and scream about and you fucking didn't. Because, we don't want to say anything bad about all of these things because, I might get cancelled. There you go. That's the end. Eric, go.
Wow. That's a lot to follow. So, yeah, we do have a responsibility there, and we get, abolished for or sent to the corner or the other room for standing up for what's better for everybody else in the long run. People want to just be in the dark and have the blinders on and not know what's going on. But we did a video a few months ago, like 6 months ago. It was an Alice in Wonderland theme, and we went super dark on this, and a bunch of people went really dark. I know Diana was in the chat when we were showing this, and the thing that freaked people out the most was that I had a 7-year-old girl in the video doing most of the stuff. Like, she was sitting at a tea party doing her tea stuff, then the tea stuff starts turning into body parts, and her face starts getting like really demonic and crazy and stuff. So it's too long to be a video. I haven't sent it to you, Diana, I don't think, but it's like 17 minutes long. I'll send it to you, but I hadn't even thought about it till now. It's 17 minutes long, and I know no one's going to play it as a music video because it's essentially a 17-minute long music video. I could edit it down to 3.5, 5 minutes of the real song that it's for, but I thought, this is more artistic, this is more short film format, and I'm trying to figure out what it fits into afterwards. And so I started contacting film festivals, and I don't know if it's because how graphic it is, even real graphic stuff in it, or freaky it is, or they don't know what kind of bucket to put it in. Some won't respond to me at all, and other ones will like, well, this is a music video, not a film. And then other ones will be like, well, this is too long, or like they want to dictate the format. But generally, when I ran a film festival, that was where you showed the weird ass stuff, was the short film stuff. And so I just put it unlisted on YouTube, and when I send a link to people, they go watch it and they can share it. But as soon as I made it public, YouTube gave me some warning about something, that content or something in kids, and I just made it unlisted.
Send it to us. Jeez.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't send you that one. And thanks for putting Sin out this week, by the way.
Oh, of course.
An ESA remix before anyone knew who they were.
Two things. I'm sorry, Alex. I'm interrupting you. You should score that. You should score it like it's a short film. Secondly, I think anybody who's getting offended this doesn't know a 7-year-old girl, because 7-year-old girls are. You should see what they do to their Barbies.
It was their idea. It was her idea. She's like, Daddy, if I take this, the Halloween stuff you have? I'm like, perfect. Let's do it. Your mom, you had to send her mom out of the house. But,
Alex, go.
Yeah, in response to the cancel culture thing, I think you have to remember that the whole world isn't just people on Twitter. I think that it appears bigger than at least that's what I sort of learned, and that the consequences aren't as severe as it is in one's perception, though the perception of course is really, really for oneself. And also, I think it really depends if you consider the efficacy of boundary breaking, whether you do it for a reason or not, to shock. Because I think if you're just going for the shock value, it's a bit hollow, and I personally don't like it that much. Because I feel like it's sort of used in that way, that my emotional response is gutted. But I think if there's a point to be made, it's something entirely different.
For sure. Vince, finally, what you got?
I would have had something sooner probably, but people here at my house mowing the lawn and it was really noisy. On the issue, on the subject of self-censorship, I think self-censorship, if you don't have a massive audience, don't self-censor at all. Just do whatever you're gonna do and adjust your marketing based on the response. Don't self-censor right off the bat, because I'm thinking about this a lot lately, because I've only got one thing even coming out right now that's got lyrics in it, and I didn't do them. So I'm trying to push myself to write things with lyrics, and I still haven't done it, but this was a good conversation for that. It made me think, you know, you can't censor yourself. If you're censoring yourself, you're presenting yourself authentically to begin with, and that's going to be taken way better than trying to remain politically correct.
Totally agree. And that's the other thing. I'm sorry, were you done?
No, yeah, I'm done.
Fucking great remix, by the way. Thanks again for that. And I'm going to be putting all the stems on Angelspit's Patreon very shortly. I only got the last stuff. That's been the delays. I've been waiting on everybody to get their vocals and shit. Yeah, that's the real thing, is that, like, when you look at this group of people, and we all have something to say about censorship and self-censorship, because basically we're over it. And we are a pretty healthy example, cross section of our community. That we're pretty damn smart, except me. But I have Shaya, and she is my evil princess that does my wicked deeds. Where we have a pretty decent view on the world, and we don't take things at, you know, face value. You know, we are the people who like to be inquisitive, and we like to call bullshit on things. This is the audience. This is the tribe. And I think for us to be bullshitting the tribe, you know, you're bullshitting yourself. You bullshit yourself, you bullshit the tribe. I will, however, say that I have noticed that when people are dancing, they, depending on how many drugs they've had, they don't really want to be dancing to Angelspit because it's very depressing. You know, some people, when they're at a club, they don't want to be reminded of how fucked the world is. I don't mind. I love being reminded how fucked the world is. But anyway, that's just because I'm a try-hard punk. I will now throw the door open to my heart, and anyone can run on in.
Well, I'll just say that.
Rob, why? I'm sorry, Diana, go. No, I'm listening.
That Adam will do live VJ. He will mix the music video. So it depends on the festival and what we're doing, what videos are gonna get mixed. So it'll be a live mix, like he's live DJing mix. So the intertwined with the video is great, and I'll say the videos that are a little higher contrast will get more attention. That yes, they're dark, but they have a little, you know, separation from background, like get more attention, if that makes sense.
Excellent. Okay, I don't really have anything else to add on this unless we want to go down a rabbit hole. But luckily, Julius put his hand up. Go, Julius.
Can we take a moment to talk about workflow and post-production on videos?
Sure.
Because I had this topic yesterday with my project partner when we finished our video, and we were talking about a famous German actor who is also a producer and whatnot, and he seems to be well known for his very fast workflow. Like as soon as he finished filming, on the very same evening, he would sit down and work all night and present a raw video of a movie on the next morning. And I think the quality of his movies speaks against this type of workflow. So I'm asking you, do you think, how fast is too fast? Or how fast do you work? What are your experiences with this?
Can I? My thoughts are, it's like a song, and you know, is that vocal take? Yeah, everyone just roll their eyeballs. Is that vocal take too quick? Do I need to do that vocal take again? But do you have to do that vocal take again? Like, me maybe a day or two to get a rough cut, only because, you know how I use that Excel sheet? Before, on top of every single take, I will go, every single take's got a number. And I will say that number. Go. So when I'm lining it up, I just cut that bit out and go slap, 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 slap. That's basically what's happening. There is a rough mix. It'll take me about a week before I have something that I'm happy with. Maybe, actually, I'll say 10 hours. 10 hours. And then I'll start kicking it in and polishing it a bit. So I will probably spend about 20 hours, maybe, editing a video. At a guess, 20 hours. Anyone else?
Okay, that's interesting, because I kind of think that after producing material, you still need time to kind of let it sink and think about what you just did, and probably think about a few more details. So it's interesting to hear that other people work different ways.
For me, I can't sit and think about anything, or I will just sit and think. That's just me. I have to have a plan, and I have to go to the plan. Yeah, because the plan is like a bastard manager who is telling me what to do. And if I don't have that, I'm gonna sit here and watch videos about the Emacs synthesizer and aliens all day. I have to do this. And there's got to be a plan when I go into something. I have to have every single fucking thing I do has got to have it. Well, once you've done this, you have to do this, then you have to do this. And then there's going to be this period of time where it's like, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go through and polish stuff up. I might even insert stuff, but it's very, very rare that I will go back and shoot something else to slot in there, or even in a song, record something else to go in there. Because once I finish the whole recording thing, I'm done. I guess I'm a very impatient person. And when it comes to art, it's like, how can I fuck this up to make it? Like, if I have something else that I want to get done, I'll get someone else to do it. Like, if the vocals aren't quite kicking it enough, I'll just say, Brian, give me some gasoline invertebrate vocals that are saying this thing. Blah. Rob, what you got?
Yeah, I spend very little time putting the structure together. So because I've already got it in my head, I've got the material, it literally doesn't take me more than a couple of hours to go drop all the material against the track and get the basic structure. And because I don't have a lot of time to do this, I will walk away from it and then come back another day or two later, and I'll think about how to improve on the quality, the overall production. And so that's where I might be putting in some video effects or blah blah blah. And the last thing I finish with is usually the titling of the front and the back. And the titling, to me, generally it's easy, but when I've got different artists, it's actually taking me a long time to get the artists to send me their preferred titling for their band name or their video credit, whatever, because I want to put in funky graphic titling. I don't want it just to be typed up there as a video credit. I want it to be interesting. And, you know, one particular artist that I'm doing like 6 different pieces for, he still hasn't told me what he wants as his for his band name. So I've been waiting for months, but I'll get back to it. The reality is that I will tinker with the video after I've done the main structure. And a little bit like Carl, I've got to get that done in one hit. Otherwise I don't feel like I'm being productive. Wait. If the artist can wait, I can wait.
That's actually interesting because it's the same thing. I'll be quick. I see you moving, Eric. It's the same thing with shooting the video. Is I have to do it in 1 day or 2 days. I can't stand having a video shot that's dragged into other areas. And it's also really interesting. I have a lot of trouble dealing with video shoots because I'm kind of impatient with humans. I know I suck. I'm a terrible man. I am. I don't want to do a shot with 30 people in it. No. The logistics of getting all of those people, no. This is supposed to be fun. It's me and my cat. And the wife sometimes. Julius, I see your hand.
Thanks for the input on this topic. I'm an impatient person too, actually, and I would never just stop in the middle of the process of filming. Like, film on Monday, wait 2 weeks, and film the second day 2 weeks later. I wouldn't do that either. Just to clarify that, but I think when you finish a process, there needs to be at least a tiny break, as Rob does, between, like, when you pick it up again, to just let your mind rest and to not get kind of a tunnel vision, if that makes sense, because that's what happens to me. Not exceptionally to videos, but also to music, and yes, that's it.
Cool. Thank you. Eric.
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to share that we talked about in email a little bit, Carl, was when I was working on the remix for the Uncle Whatever Happened to Uncle Sam. My answer is he's a dirty, perverted uncle, but that gets drunk at the parties, at the family gathering.
Come and sit on my lap.
There you go. He always wants you to sit on his lap.
Yeah.
Carl did something that I've done 30 remixes in the last, 9 to 12 months. And Carl did something that one or two other artists have ever done. They actually didn't say, "Oh, this sounds great," and took it and released it. He actually gave feedback. He said, "Hey, I really like when that 4 on the floor comes in. We need more of that." Or, vocals like this, or, even removing samples and talking about that, which is something I would like to talk about if anyone else is interested in that. And then, when I was listening to it, I took that break too, like what you're saying, Julius, is I try to take that break before I submit it so I can get fresh ears on it, whether it's a video or a track, especially a remix. And that gave me that space that when I went back to listen to those things, I heard 5 or 6 other things that I was able to change that made the song even better. So I think that space is important, whether it's visual or audio.
For sure. Do we want to go down that rabbit hole about samples?
Well, it's interesting. I was looking up the YouTube rules. Yeah, Carl talked me into a year and a half ago, which was the best choice ever. But they have like these crazy rules, like for YouTube. When you go into Distro Kid, they don't show them on TuneCore when I looked it up, but basically YouTube says anything that creates a sound you didn't create, whether it's a beat, loop, sample, including sounds like drum sounds from a DAW, FL Studio Ableton, are not allowed to be uploaded. And you can't upload any song that's ever going to be remixed of yours. It's like it even goes beyond sampling stuff that's not in the public domain, that's owned by people.
Yeah. When I'm sending the stems out, I specify no remixes. No remixes. It came, and somebody recently said, but it came from a news source. No. You can't do that. I touched on this briefly last week as well, and the upshot was that Aaron, who does Grim, get him to do it.
You mean no samples, not no remixes, right?
Sorry?
You mean no samples, not no remixes, right?
Oh, me or Eric?
Yeah, you said no remixes.
I meant no samples. Yeah.
But yeah, YouTube says you can't. It's basically you got to do what Carl does. Only send the vocals out, because if they're even the vocals, according to YouTube, if you reuse them in a remix, it messes up their algorithm, so they don't want you to post that stuff, and they will block it.
Okay, my understanding of that one is that if it has its own ISRC number, and if it's already logged and registered with Distro Kid, you should be okay. That's my understanding, because legally, that remix is a musical identity unto itself. That's sure it's the core from something else, but because it's all under your umbrella and it has its own ISRC, you're okay. But That might not be. If that's the fucking case. Oh my god. Who knows?
This is no sounds from GarageBand, Ableton, Logic, and you can tell how old this is. Fruity Loops, because that's not even the name of it like for 10 years. And or any sample pack, whether it's public domain or you own the license to it.
There you go. So does that mean they're just going to take down everything Kanye ever
Are we
did?
talking about YouTube?
Evidently, yep.
Yeah. So we had this conversation last week, and Vince, jump in.
Is this YouTube's rules or Distro?
I'm reading it on Distro Kid under what songs are eligible for YouTube Content ID. Which Distro Kid did put a new feature on that allows you to add the other artists on recently. It's better.
Yeah, because we were talking about the algorithm and about how its ability to detect things is getting better and better and better. And although you release something now in 2 years, 5 years, 3 months, tomorrow, the algorithm will be going, that loop, you can't use that loop.
Yeah, YouTube's new rule says no 4 on the 4 beats, 4 on the 4 beats, no 4 rhythms, no 120 BPM.
No eyeliner. No eyeliner. Yeah. I'll be really quickly. Yeah, free is only. Real quick, I've got one of my favorite albums is Human League Dare. And it's funny that it's got each panel of the LP's got a member of the band on it. Great album, by the way. It was one of the first albums to have Lindrum on it, because the story is they got an advanced copy of Lindrum somehow, the LM1, and they redid the drums. And that's why the album's so good, it's Lindrum. Not because the songs are fantastic, it's the Lindrum. And it's funny that everybody's got makeup and they look good, except the guy on the cover has got no eyeliner. So the rule is no eyeliner, back cover. If you want to be on the front cover, eyeliner. Eric, the man wearing eyeliner. We've let it. You're carrying us forward. I am grateful. Go.
I'm fucked. I wear eyeliner all the time, every day. I don't know.
No, that's good. That's excellent, man. I'm all about. So one of my friends recently did a post. I'm sorry. Just remember. I just want to say this. She did a post and she said she was going out to get groceries and she got gothed up. She looked like she was going to a club, and I went, yes. You know, you've got to do that. You know, because it's fun. Like, I'm just putting on. I am wearing my May May shirt now, but you've got to wear the damn colors, man. Show pride. Yeah, good on you. Go. What's up?
Quick. You just touched on this, and I just released a new too.
Email that to me so I can pimp it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually, Eric was just talking about Distro Kid and saying you like Distro Kid. Just to touch on this quick, all my previous stuff I've ever released was on CD Baby, but everyone recommends Distro Kid this time because I was actually looking at changing distributors to do that. And maybe quick thought
on Distro Kid.
Yeah,
Distro Kid are awesome, and they're awesome because their fee structure is awesome, and there are certain advanced things that you can. Distro Kid are the second best. I'll get to the best in a minute. The great thing about Distro Kid is that if you want off, you just send them an email. With a lot of these other places, it's this pain in the dick. And some of them, like we're not going to let it go. And Distro Kid is you pay a fee, a base fee every month, every year, and it doesn't matter if you make a zillion or you sell 3. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be that base thing. And Distro Kid also has labels, so you can set up a label where you can have several different bands under your label reduced on Distro Kid. And as Eric mentioned, if you and me wrote a song together, because I'm on Distro Kid and Carl gets 20% of the royalties, you get 75%. So you can actually build me into the royalties, and Distro Kid will send me my money. It doesn't go through you, it goes through Distro Kid. Which is best? I think the best agitator is AWAL, AWAL. No idea what it stands for. I talked about this last week, I think, as well. AWAL is just amazing. They take a cut. They have everything built into it, like advanced YouTube stuff, Dweezer, Beatport, all that shit is already built into it. And they are really thorough with iTunes, because artwork and dealing with iTunes is the biggest pain in the dick. That, oh my god.
Yeah.
Unless you want to say something, I'm going to throw it to Julius.
Awesome, thank you.
I totally recommend Distro Kid. I'm on Distro Kid, and I think it has a lot of advantages. I think it's also the cheapest provider. At least when I jumped on last year, it was the cheapest one. I pay $20 for a year, like for a membership, and it delivers to a lot of shops too. So I think that's a plus. There is a tiny disadvantage. I do not know if other distributors do the same, but if you were to cancel your membership on DistroKid, all of your music in the shops would vanish. And you would have to pay a legacy fee of $50 for each song, I think, to have it stay where it is, although your membership is finished.
That's actually a really good point, but I want to come back to that. Eric, what you got?
To add to what Julius is saying, the feature that Carl, what you were saying too, has been awesome. That was one of the reasons you got on there to begin with, was to split royalties and stuff. But now it's a lot easier to add to be very specific. Like, I got Klaus Larson on a track, and trying to spell leather strip correctly or Klaus Larson, because it's different on different platforms. You only have one place to do it in these publishing forms, and it doesn't work for Apple. You have to publish it, get it wrong, and then make a request, and it's a big pain in the ass. But now you have like where you can put in the Apple ID separate from the Spotify ID, and the other ones tend to just work. They tend to get it right, the other providers, but Apple and Spotify, it's like they're so complicated in the way they do it. But I there's still things that I hate, like you know, there's no hashtag for industrial, there's no hashtag for God and stuff. And Distro says it's because it's not on all the platforms, and when it is, then they'll do it. But also, if I have a song that has a German title, I write it in German. I can't write any another language than what is my language that I'm on the account with, which is kind of frustrating how they end up limiting you in all these different ways. But DistroKid is easily the best one.
That's interesting. Yes, there's no goth industrial thing. Although if you go into techno, Detroit techno, I think industrial's in there or something. Like it's Detroit techno.
It's under alternative rock industrial, so it's somewhere different.
Wow. Okay. This is something I think as a community we need to fucking. And I wanted to do something like this. Like, you know, we have to get this damn hashtag going. That's something you said before about Julius, about, you know, if you're busting your balls to try and get people to go to that link on Spotify so it's added to your playlist. Unfortunately, if you pull out of Distro Kid or whoever, that link disappears and you have to reestablish that link. And that sucks. Because when I left my old label and took my first 3 albums with me, I had to all the plays went to 0, and I had to reestablish the plays. Because when someone went say, "Oh, I want to listen to this track off that album," it's not there anymore. So yeah, that's all I got. Although I do have a rock story to tell. But let's keep talking, unless you want to hear my rock story.
I did notice your Spotify listens have almost doubled in the last 12 months, Carl.
Thank you. Yeah, well, so here's something else I want to do, is I want to share the love on that one, and we have a Spotify playlist where all of us put a song in, and then all of us pimp that. So we're all going to go through and push that Spotify list. In fact, this is something MTV TV could do as well, is to have a constant Spotify playlist, and that can be from your personal Spotify account that you don't pay for. You know, it can be like a free account, and you just set up that playlist, and then you copy the URL.
I've already started a Spotify account, following every artist that's on the channel.
Excellent. Then what you do is you add songs to it and you push that URL, and every week or two you update it. So you can also, and that way the artists are also getting royalties, because I personally think that Spotify royalties are actually pretty good, because it's, compared to nothing, it's pretty fucking excellent.
Yeah, everyone's like, well, if I was on the radio, I'd get a penny, not a tenth of a penny. Really, your music's going to be on the radio?
Well, yeah, actually, that's an interesting thing as well, is that if it's on the radio and 300 people hear your track, you're not going to get anything. But if you get, like, I'll say 1,000 people play your track on Spotify, you will get money. But if it's on the radio, no one's going to touch you if you get 1,000 people.
One thing I did notice is people started sharing, like, how much they're making per plays. I haven't shared ours, but...
You don't. Never show your cards.
Yeah, it's not the same. I noticed, like, someone had the same number of plays we do, got paid like a third of what we got paid on Spotify. So they obviously, like other social platforms, value different type of listeners in different ways.
Yeah, my advice is never show your cards. Never, 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 never. Hey, Adam, never show your cards. Keep that secret and keep that personal. It just has a little bit to do with the art of war. That, you know, I saw somebody recently talking about how much money they're making. And dude, you don't do that. You have there's an amount that I think it's important to keep it to yourself. You know, for those of you who don't know me, I never talk about money, because money represents power. As soon as people understand what your worth is, what your XYZ is, you start moving on the bill, and you don't tell. You know, if people want to say how much did you sell, how much did you make, don't tell them.
Perception can get you higher up on that bill faster than reality sometimes.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I so often have some situation that someone's sitting there bragging to me about plays in XYZ, and it's like, dude, I am nothing, but you're not as big as me, so shut the fuck up. Like,
is everybody on Bandcamp? Does everybody do Bandcamp? Because one of the things I noticed recently, like if you upload your album and you don't use those tags the first time you upload the album, where you can tag like industrial, rock, alternative, they pop up at the beginning. If you don't put those in the first time you publish, you never rank in those categories if you add them later. We found out the hard way recently.
That's excellent news. Hashtags, man, I'm all about it.
Do it the first time before you publish it. Don't do it afterwards so people can search for you, but you'll never show up in the bottom if you don't do that the first time you publish it.
Excellent. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, plays on Spotify in themselves don't really tell the whole story, because there are people who have like farms where they have like several smartphones and just have them programmed to stream certain artists. So you can buy that stuff. So it isn't really a real indicator on how popular a person really is. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
You know, Twitch, you remember, Carl, like a year ago, we were doing this Twitch stuff. Well, like 15 months ago, it's like the first time. And we were like, that little person thing had a number next to it, and everybody debated what that number meant, like for how many people were watching, you know, the view and stuff like that. And now I've been on there, it's like there's views where it'll show like 30 to 150 people that are in there logged in. But then when you look at the stats, there's really like 600 other people that aren't logged into the platform that are watching it. And so what people can see doesn't always really represent what the reality is, in a positive and negative way sometimes.
Interesting. Vince, talk to me. Thank you, Eric. Vince, I want to hear your voice. Vince, your hands up.
Yes. On the subject of Spotify being able to pay for plays, don't do that. Because Spotify has a system that recognizes the bots and will cancel all of those plays, and you will not get paid for them. When they see 1,000 listens and it came from 10 accounts, you won't get paid.
Also, don't play your own music on high loop as well, because they'll jump on that too. Yes. So would you like to hear a rock story? Unless we want to keep talking about this. It's a cute, enduring rock story. In fact, maybe I'll keep the rock story for the end of the day. Okay. So, what's going on? Does anybody else want to throw anything in? Because we're ebbing close to that moment that we go, okay, we're done.
I want to hear a rock story.
You sure? Okay. So, Brian recently, any rock story that starts with, well, Brian, you know it's going to be good. So we were on tour. Actually, there's another that involves me in my underwear running around in a tornado, cyclone. And that actually happened. So anyway, and another one peeing in a bag in the back of a friend's car. And another one with a Polish hitman. Anyway, Brian and I, we toured with this fantastic guy named Matt. And Matt's in a band called, oh my God, I forgot Matt's band. I'm going to get in trouble. And Matt has blonde hair, white blonde hair, and it's spiky. And he looks just like Billy Idol. And every time, there's certain places in the US where, you know, if you're in a van and everyone piles out, it's, oh, you're obviously a band. And people will say to you, y'all's in a band. Y'all's in a band. And we always used to come up with really smart-ass answers because we were so tired of it. The Dead Room. Oh, my God. Matt's band is called The Dead Room. And you should check this band out because he's fucking good. And if you guys need a remix, talk to Matt at The Dead Room. He's really good. Like, this guy's got the funk. And anyway, so one day we're in Texas, and me being the smartass I am, this guy says, y'all's in a band, because Matt looks like Billy Idol's son. So we started, and these people aren't going to check their phone, they're not going to Google you. Y'all's in a band? Yeah, well, we're with Liam Idol. Who's Liam Idol? Do you remember Billy Idol from the 80s? This is his son. And they'd go, really? I love Billy Idol. And Matt knew every time Carl and Brian were spreading these seeds of bullshit, because he'd come out and everyone would go, that's him, that's him. And there were a few occasions when people would go up to him and go, I love what your dad did, and I can't wait to hear what you do too. And then we got to the point where we'd have to say to people, don't talk. Yeah, sure, he's around. He's a really calm guy. You can meet him. We'll introduce you to him. Just don't talk about his father. So, and I've hold on. Yeah, okay. Don't talk about his dad because, you know, rock star dad. And so Matt would always play along with it because he's a very calm character. And he would just stare at me with these fucking daggers. And I remember this one time we pulled into a place and, you know, y'all's in a band. And I went, yeah. And even this got tired. Yeah. You remember, we're with Liam Idol. Do you remember Billy Idol? This is his son. I love Billy Idol. Well, don't talk to him about his father, blah, blah, blah. And then afterwards, and he was a really nice guy. We were talking about him, and he was into, you know, blues and stuff. And then when we're pulling out, he runs up to the van in his cowboy hat, and he goes for his wallet, and I went, oh, God, he's going to shoot us. Because he did have Guns and Trump bumper sticker. And he pulls out $50. And he goes, oh, you guys, you know, what you're doing is really good. You know, and I feel so bad. I think I gave him a hoodie and some tea and some shirts and stuff. But anyway, that's my rock and roll story. And yes, I did. We went from Austin once to Fallout, Savannah, Georgia, and we were staying. We had to stay ahead of a cyclone. A cyclone was coming through, and we got out of Austin just in time. Austin's traffic's pretty crazy, and we're barreling, and it's like a 4-day, day drive or something, and we are staying ahead of this hurricane, like this cyclone. Like literally, we are 2 hours ahead of it, screaming down the highway, with all of these other cars screaming down the highway, trying to stay ahead of it. And every now and then we'd get the lip, and it would rain. And I remember we pulled into this gas station in somewhere, and it was raining sideways. And everybody just went, "Nah, I'm not getting it. We have to fill the van, but I'm not doing it." I went, "Well, that'd be me." So I stripped down to my underwear because whatever I wear out there is going to get drenched. So there's Carl in his undies, and the wind's blowing, like the rain is like this. And as soon as I stood out, I was soaked, and filled the van up, and water's getting into the into the petrol, in the Bowser hole, and then we buggered off. Obviously, I paid, but I got so there it is. Good on you, Diana. You've got it. That's Matt's album. It's a really fucking good album. It's just, the guy's got the funk. So Eric and Julius and Rob, if you guys have, and Adam, if you ever need a remixer, he's great. I should hit him up actually. Okay, that's Carl's stories. I'm throwing the floor open. We have about 10 minutes left, and then
there was a time in Dallas. It was at Trees, which you played at before, and I was driving home from my work, my office in there, and I saw a bus that obviously was a band playing there, and the band started getting off out of the van to go into the venue. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I look in my rearview mirror and I'm like, that looks like a band I would probably like. So I pulled over, came in, bought tickets. It was Jenny Tortures, and it wasn't listed on the calendar or the events or anything. And Jen was just walking around. She's super, super nice for anybody who's ever met her, super approachable. And then they were like everyone was confused, like what was going on, because there was only like 8 of us in the venue to watch the show, and she normally would have a couple hundred people and there would be packed. And she ended up doing the show. There's like 25 people, and she ended up stopping the show and talking to everybody. And it was the same thing. It was like people were asking like if they were the band, like outside, and like even the venue seemed like they were confused, but they obviously looked like they were in a band.
Yes, and I think now that if you don't, when you get out of your car and people say "yols" in a bit, if they don't say that, you're doing something wrong. That needs to become
go home.
Yeah,
go home.
Go home and watch Star Trek. You need to have, everywhere you go, and this is even Alex and Julius, everywhere you go, people have to say "yols" in a band. And I know you guys are in Germany and people probably don't say that, so that's just upping the level a bit for you guys. You have to get them to say "yols" in a band.
I'm not sure if this counts, but when I pull up in my black Jaguar, people often ask me if I'm a gun dealer. Are you an arms dealer? Sure.
You always say yes to when someone asks if you're an arms dealer. You say yes, of course.
So when you're a DJ on the road, you're alone, so you just get, "Y'all ain't from around here, are ya?"
I remember we pulled into a place in Canada somewhere, and it was a fast food joint, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we were having breakfast of champions, and afterwards the kid who was serving burgers, I remember he ran out and stopped at the van and he said, "Take me with you." And I remember saying, "I don't know if you want that, but you just work in such a way that you make your own path, and you can do it."
I walked into I opened for Christian Death last Friday, and I walked in during the load-in time, and they immediately saw me and they said, "Are you the DJ or in the band?" That was inside. I'm like, I'm in the right place.
Excellent. Sorry, Rob?
I was going to ask you, Carl, do you still have the GIMP? Is he still with you?
Yes, yeah, under the stairs. Gimp's with me under the stairs. Always there. And we updated his suit because it's so hot in LA that you can just pump air into him and he blows up. Sometimes he floats. And when the kids come over, we play, you know, push the gimp around like a balloon. Gimpy loves that. And it's funny, just going back, Eric, to what you were saying about 7-year-old girls, is that I try my material on my 7-year-old niece, and she just rolls her eyeballs. Like, I come up with a really dark concept, and she just goes,
I did something the other day I thought I would never do, and I was like, I wasn't sure how this was going to play, but I was doing a live DJ set on Twitch, and my daughter kept coming. It was like 1 in the morning too, so she woke up. She was just sitting on the side watching me, and then she went and got a black dress on and got a nun, the scary nun one you always talk about, and she did what you talked about, and she walked in, and then she took it off and she woke her mom up to go put makeup on her, and got all gothed up, and then just started dancing the video. And everyone loved it, and I never would have chosen it. I would have overthought that and not done it, but it worked out.
That's great. You did good. Congratulations. I'm just going to pause my mic for a sec, because I'm going to say something I don't want to go live. Back on, but I did play my niece and nephew Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush, like the one where she's in the field, because that's the album, that's the song, the video that changed my life when I was like 6. I saw that, and I remember they were just transfixed, and it was a good moment. Okay.
See, she likes that Lorde song Royal because it says Queen Bee, and like her favorite, like I think it's LOL doll, it's her favorite toy, has a queen bee, and she doesn't think of Beyonce, she thinks of Lorde, so she always says play that song, and she just loves everything off that album.
That's great.
Even though there's a couple I have to skip on.
That's great. That's excellent. With this in mind, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to say thank you, y'alls, for your time today. We covered some material. Caffeine is slowly seeping into our brains, and we'll just hang around afterwards and have a chat. But everyone else,
thanks to Adam for empty TV.
Yeah, let's raid. Let's raid right now. Let's raid to MTV TV. MTV TV. MTV TV. MTV TV. MTV TV. MTV TV. We're raiding. And if you're watching on YouTube or anything like that, I should put it. Hold on, just before you do, I will put. Boom. Come on, bam. There you go. That's where we're going. I hope, if my damn thing works. We're going over to MTV TV right now. But everybody else, right now. Bye. 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 Bye.